Hey friend, this is episode number 534 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so, what is it?
Hello, welcome to episode number 534. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. We are talking about Post Malone today. That is this week's business nugget, and it sounds like it's coming out of left field, but I promise it's really not. I have been a very curious watcher of Post Malone's journey as a creative, as an artist. And so that's what we will be chatting about in this week's business nugget coming up. Before we get started into this week's list of topics, real quick, if your business feels a little scattered lately, or you're realizing it's been weeks since you checked in with what actually matters, I've got something for you. It's called the Clarity Catch-Up, and it's my free guide to help you pause, check in, and get reconnected with your business in a way that actually feels doable. No fluffy vision boards, no pressure to overhaul everything, just a simple process to help you catch your breath, spot what's working, and make your next move with more intention, which you know is the name of the game here. Head to bossgirlcreative.com/clarity or hit the link in this week's show notes to grab it. It's free, it's grounded, and if you've been craving just a little more clarity in your business, this is the place to start. Again, go to bossgirlcreative.com/clarity or find the link directly to it in this week's show notes. Let's dive into this week's topics. First up, garden. So I was able to plant another round of corn, and actually I made a TikTok about it, and I had a girl go like, wait, how is she doing another round of corn? And then she was like, oh, and then I noticed your growing zone, and now I'm jealous. What's really fortunate for my growing zone is we have the opportunity to basically grow 365 days a year. Now, will I be tackling that this year? I'm not so certain. I think I will definitely have, well, I know I will. I'll have fall plants in the ground, but I'm not sure that I'm going to do much winter just so that I have an opportunity to take a break and not chase the cold snaps or the freezes that we might be getting. We've had a very, very mild summer. I think like less than 5 100-degree days. And just a few years ago, we had like 60 straight 100-degree days. Like it was a crazy hot summer. So very fortunate that we didn't have that this year. But now I'm like, are we about to have the worst winter we've had in a long time? Question mark. Possibly. I did finally get started with cleanup in the garden to kind of like roll into fall planting. I still have a ways to go, lots of weeds, but making a dent, which is what I needed to be doing. I also seed started more zinnias and marigolds, dill, cilantro, broccoli, and cabbage. I have broccoli ready to go in the ground. My cabbage is kind of struggling, and I think that was just the seedlings not getting enough water when they were starting out. For whatever reason, the broccoli's schedule was just fine, and I started the cabbage at the same day, but I don't know what happened outside of we just had a lack of water for them, and it was while I was in Colorado, so my assistant was watering, and she did the best she could do with the tools and resources she had, and to have expectations of, somebody taking care of your garden while you're gone. Obviously, I'm going to have to find somebody that has a little bit more garden knowledge and maybe not seed start before I go on vacation. Definitely don't plant corn, a second round of corn when I did, because I lost the entire round while we were gone, which totally sucked. That had more to do with storms than anything else. And let's see. So I'll be planting out the broccoli that's almost ready, but I have to build some kind of insect netting for it that is fairly easy to remove, because I have eggplant growing and I have potato beetles, which I have not had to handle. And that was actually one of my search bar confessions for the week. What the heck is this red looking bug? And yep, sure enough, potato beetles. So I have to, I have an infestation. It's crazy. They're just on my eggplants. So I've got to get rid of them. And yeah, so fun things to learn as you garden. Fun things to learn. With our house, we're just waiting on our building guy to get started. Books that I finished since last podcast episode. Listen for the Lie. Amy Tintera, 4 stars. Really enjoyed that when I listened to it. And The Art Thief, which is nonfiction, 4 stars, Michael Finkel. And it's about a prolific art thief who managed 200 art heists in an 8-year period. And we're talking late 90s into early 2000s. So somebody recent. And that was actually really fascinating. I find the art world and art history very fascinating and really enjoyed that book. I also listened to that one. Chad's mom update. Man, she is still with us. However, the waiting game is just, I don't even know the appropriate word. The waiting game for somebody to pass is excruciating. Nobody's sleeping well. And God bless, my whole family, Chad, his sister, his dad, it is just, that's all I have. I'm speechless because I don't have words. So that's that update. Let's get into this week's Search Bar Confessions. What to do with loofah after harvest, because I have an abundance of it and I wasn't really certain what I was supposed to do once I started harvesting it. And now I know, which is really exciting. And so stay tuned for the farm stand to offer loofah. And then a friend wanted to start a book club and she was like, where do we order these books? And I was like, hey, it's called bookshop.org. And it truly is the best resource to support independent booksellers. So bookshop.org. Thrift Books also is another great source to source used books, but specifically supporting local booksellers. That would be bookshop.org. I also Googled, when are we getting a Sherlock Holmes 3? And learned that it's not anytime soon. It was supposed to be, but it's still been on hold. I also Googled fruit trees in Texas because we are going to be doing that soon. You coming into fall season, that's when you plant trees. And so trying to get a game plan on what trees we will be planting, specifically fruit trees. And then hummingbird nectar recipe. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you it's 4 parts water to 1 part sugar. And yes, that is what you use for hummingbird nectar. This time of year through October, the red-throated hummingbird is making its trek back down to South America. And so they really encourage people to make sure the hummingbird feeders are full of nectar, because talk about a trek from the U.S. to South America, and they do it every single year. That is so crazy. So that's what I got for this week's Search Bar Confessions. Now let's get into this week's business nugget. It's all about Post Malone, which you may not have heard about Posty, but he has made a splash here around Texas, and that's what I want to talk about, because he just launched himself into the fashion world. I first caught a glimpse of it on Vogue Business. If you don't follow Vogue Business, obviously it's very fashion driven, but still good information there. So I saw it on Vogue Business via Instagram, but I want to talk about it because Post Malone started out in heavy metal as an artist and then transitioned into R&B and then made a country crossover or crossover into country music. And now he is dabbling into Western fashion. And I find it fascinating. So like I said, I saw that Post Malone launched a fashion brand this week in Paris at Karl Lagerfeld's mansion with a horse. Yes, there was a horse in his final walk. And I couldn't stop thinking about it, not because of the drama or the press, but because of his arc. Here's a guy who started in heavy metal, then drifted into hip hop, and then leaned hard into country. And now he's in Paris launching a Western-inspired fashion brand under his real name, Austin Post. He called his show Season 1 At First Light, denim, fringe, velvet jackets, cowboy boots, all very rooted in the Southwest. And it really didn't feel like a gimmick. It felt like a story he's been telling for a while, and now it's just catching up to itself. It's easy to call it a pivot, but I think it's actually character development because not one of those shifts actually erased the last. They all stacked. They layered. He followed what made him curious, and clarity found him along the way. And that's what I want to say today, especially if you're sitting in a season of what now or what if. Curiosity is a completely valid business strategy. It's how I made my way into oil and gas. It's how I found weddings and events. And it's how I launched this podcast. I didn't sit around waiting for some big master plan. I just got curious. I built, I launched, and then I watched to see how it landed, not just with my audience, but with me personally. That's the part we don't talk about enough. It's not just about what they like. It's about what you like, what still feels right 6 months in, what actually holds your attention when the buzz wears off. That's where clarity lives. And it's why I created the Clarity Catch-Up. Because if you're constantly producing, posting, planning, but never pausing to process, you're skipping the part where clarity actually shows up. The Clarity Catch-Up is a space to stop and reflect, to look at the last 30 days of your business and ask, what is this trying to show me? It's free, it's simple, and it's for women like us who are building with real lives and real questions. I mean, hello, search bar confessions. So if something's been whispering at you lately, but you don't know what to do with it yet, this is your reminder. You don't need to niche hard. You don't need a 12-step blueprint. You just need curiosity and a little space to catch up with yourself. Post Malone in Paris isn't the headline. The headline is, this is what happens when you don't give up and you stay curious, when you keep building, when you trust that clarity will meet you where you are. Grab the Clarity Catch-Up, links in the show notes, or go to bossgirlcreative.com/clarity and let yourself follow the whisper, because that's what I'm seeing Post Malone do. He has made these pivots, and I mean, back in 2023, he showed up to one of the country music award shows, and people are like, what is this dude doing at a country music award show? Like, he's tatted up, he's got tats all over his face. He doesn't seem like he fits in, but man, does he ever. Like, we're very quick to judge somebody's storyline. We're very quick to be like, well, why do they think they fit in here? Why do we do that? I think it's because we're more offended that we didn't do it first. I think that's part of it. Some of it is also what makes you think you deserve this? What makes you think you have a seat at this table? And that is where we falter. That is where we hurt ourselves when we don't allow others to sit at a table. And I really think Austin has just been building his own table and being like, yo, pull up a chair. Let's do this. Let's stay curious. And that is what he's done. And I don't think it's coming truly out of left field. Like, obviously, I don't follow his daily movements, but when I saw it, I was like, wow, okay, yeah, good for you. Good for you. And I was like that when he crossed over into country music. Good for you, sir. Good for you for being curious, for deciding that's the direction you wanted to go, and people followed. They were curious while you did it, but they loved what you did and they kept following. And I think sometimes we fall short in not allowing ourselves to stay connected into curiosity, because curiosity drives so much in our lives. And if you do not allow yourself to stay curious, what are you even doing in life? Like, it's holding you back. Not giving yourself an opportunity to stay curious is truly holding you back. So I'm giving you permission to be like Post Malone and stay curious, because you will find clarity through being curious. Truly, you will. It's literally what drives me every day. I search bar confessions because I stay curious. Like, I want to know. I want to know what I don't know. I want to take action on things that I'm like, ooh, that sparks joy. Let's do it. And then I'll launch it or get halfway and be like, nope, no longer finding joy there. Let's pivot. It's okay to do that. It's okay to do that. You are in the driver's seat of your life, your business. It's your rules. You're rolling out your own red carpet. You're pulling your big girl panties up. You stay in the driver's seat on purpose because you're curious, or you need to find it. You need to find curiosity. But we get to make up the rules every day. We can pivot our business into far left field just to see if we can. That is the opportunity waiting for you. So be like Posty. Be like Posty. Stay curious. Character develop yourself. That's the takeaway. Character develop yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Happy September! We're in my favorite time of the year, the BER months. I love this time of year. Football's back on. Oh my gosh. I can't get enough. I am really looking forward to watching football on my front porch. And that will happen next football season. And I am so excited. Okay, reminder. Go grab the Clarity Catch-Up. It's a free workbook. You know you want it. It will help you in moments where you're feeling stuck. It's free. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/clarity to get it. I promise you won't be disappointed. Until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.